Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Um, in today's video, we are going to be diving into OKLO, the stock, the company with the buzz around it. Before we get into the video, as always, I want to give you all a quick disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice or a trade recommendation. Always do your own research and trade at your own risk. Now, that being said, I think the question that everyone tuned into this video is by the end of this video is will you be able to answer the question that is OKLO a stock that's gonna do a 10x, which is a run up? It's definitely possible, and I think my purpose of this video is not to share a hope that it's gonna do that in a certain time frame. My intention of this video is to share that the stock has a lot of potential for growth, and I am buying this stock from my long-term portfolio. And when I was doing my research, there's a lot of information I came across. So I wanted to share that because I felt like when I was researching, I wasn't really able to find what has been happening with OKLO and what is the future like, because I think we definitely have seen a buzz around the stock where it has grown a lot. But we want to know, is this the right time to enter? Or for me personally, do I want to enter? How much do I want to enter with? Do I have the opportunity to dollar cost average? So for those who might not be familiar with OKLO, let me pull up their website. I think their website has a lot of amazing information up there with a video with detailing on what technology and energy stuff they have in there. So to keep it simple, OKLO is an advanced nuclear tech startup founded in 2013 in Santa Clara. Its core production, the Aurora Powerhouse, a compact, fast neutron reactor, produces 15 to 50 MWEs of reliable power for up to 10 years without refueling. That I think is amazing. Use cases include data centers, remote towns, military bases, and industrial site. Its business model centers on building, owning, and operating reactors under long-term partnerships, and it also plans to produce valuable yet overlooked radioscopes for medical and industrial use. I think the whole diversification of their plans with energy, the medical industry, and creating niche products for military bases, AI data centers, and remote towns is something that sets them apart. So let's quickly dive into the stock and what really I'm looking at. Like I mentioned to y'all, I bought this stock on Friday. I started dipping my hands with getting 12 stocks, and I felt that I could have an opportunity to dollar cost average. My goal is to at least get 100 because I believe that this stock could also have a second potential for me as a trader where I could be selling covered options on this, where it could be a passive income. And as you all know, for covered options, one of the best and the safest ways is to have 100 of these equities. That's my way of looking at it. We can definitely do naked selling. I'm not a big fan of that, based on my risk profile, so I tend to stick to just having 100 of those because if there's one day where the trade goes against you, at least you know your losses are managed and there's a recovery because I think like I always mention in my videos, risk management is the core of becoming a successful trader. A successful trader is not someone who has consistent green days, but is someone who has a risk management where their green days are more higher than their red days, which eventually leads for them to make money in this market. So let's dive deep into it. Why the hype? I think as traders, the first thing for us is the growth the stock has seen in 2025. The stock on the first trading day of 2025 opened at $21.23. And as of the close of August 29, 2025, the stock closed at $73.64. That's close to 346% year to date. That's amazing growth with the current valuation, the current stock price, the market cap for the organization is 10 billion. So it's definitely reached a lot of market cap in for an organization which isn't really fully operational. And what I mean by that is they aren't really selling their products here. They're doing a lot of partnerships and prototypes and trying stuff out. So the production isn't 100%. They anticipate that to be fully done by the end of 2027 or 2028. But right now, definitely, a lot of the growth has been behind the future potential of what the stock could have. The key catalysts also include the deployment of the Aurora microreactors at the U.S. Air Force Base in Alaska under a pilot program, marking OKLO's defense market entry, like we said, defense market is a very niche market, and having an organization which is creating value in that market can definitely help it get contracts from the government. We saw a run up very similar to this with Palantir when, we saw that they were creating value for the government, and as they started getting those contracts with the current administration, the stock really shot up and caught momentum. Additionally, federal deregulation and executive support for nuclear energy, plus explosive energy demands for AI infrastructure, has generated enormous investor interest. As we mentioned, nuclear power is being looked at the power that could help AI. AI definitely has been something that needs a lot of power, and nuclear power could be something that really helps it boost. With all this in mind, we also see the sentiment for stocks like this in the market where analysts are really covering it. And for OKLO specifically, Bank of America initiated cover with a buy rating and a $92 price target, citing OKLO's positioning for powering the AI-driven world. I think there's positive momentum behind the stock, with analysts really looking at it as, something that could largely be fueling regulatory momentum, AI energy demands, and high-profile partnerships. So that is something good to see, that, it's just not retail investors like you and me who are looking at this stock. It's also institutions. And as we know, when we have institutions looking at stock like this, we definitely see much more stable stock momentum, which we want to see because we do not want to see the stock go up 1,000% in a few months, and then what goes up always has to correct itself, and then we are sitting holding a bag right at the top. With that being said, the stock also has, a lot of partnerships with the defense and the government. Chris Wright, who is the Secretary for Department of Energy, is also a director at OKLO. Um, I am not emphasizing that him being a director at OKLO means blindly them winning, contracts or having them giving them a simple edge over other competitors just because he's there. But the leadership and the knowledge that he would bring in with, all his for experience of being a former CEO of Liberty Energy and all the value that he would bring in being at his current position would definitely benefit OKLO. We also know OKLO was selected to deploy its Aurora microreactors at Alaska's Air Force Base, part of a U.S. microreactor pilot program under a long-term power purchase deal. So that is something that is really interesting and really good to know that the stock has a lot of potential with the government, and that is something that's really going to give it a boost because as they see progress in their products and the reactors, we are going to definitely see them be eligible to get contracts which will help them boost their production and reach a larger audience. Um, just something that I always try to look at in organizations like OKLO is, the cash in hand because right now as we stated, I would still consider that as a startup which is looking to really initiate and grow itself. And this we recently got their earnings call, and in that we saw that in quarter two, they booked losses of 28 million, and obviously they do not have any revenue because they haven't really full-fledged started producing and selling their products. But what really stood out to me was, they spoke about having 226.8 million in cash plus and 456.2 million in securities, with a target for their first commercial reactor launch between late 2027 and 2028. They also mentioned something that was really interesting, and that was, or normally what we see is as they get closer to the commercial launch of their reactors, they would sell more shares into the market, bringing the price down. But based on their current analysis, they anticipate with their cash reserves that they have, they should be able to do that without any share selling. And for us as investors, it's very important to see something like that because that just means the company really has confidence in its product. Because a lot of times we see that, when the share price keeps going up, the company keeps introducing new shares into the market, which is good. But if that capital really isn't being held till the production or it isn't being reinvested in terms of specifically enhancing the product, eventually there's gonna come a point where the organization is going to need more funding where they're gonna keep on have introducing more supply of shares into the market and in devaluing the share because the way I look at it is supply and demand. If you keep on increasing the supply, there's only so much demand that's gonna come in because at some point or the else, everyone's gonna be eyeing the launch of the commercial reactor. And right now they have a timeline of 2027, late 2027 and 2028. And with any delays, that would affect the whole momentum that's been going around behind the stock, and also something like, you know, the contracts they might get from the government, because I believe late 2027, 2028. Something to also keep in mind is the term for the current government. We would be entering, a stage where we would be looking at, we would be closer to election. So, government contracts and stuff like that, during elections, it's definitely something that I have seen is a little more different. because everyone's focusing on the next term and the next government, and institutions like these really take a hit till we really get a more stable answer on what the future looks like. Also, as I mentioned, in terms of the leadership, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman stepped down from OKLO's chairman as OKLO's chairman in April 2025, with CEO Jacob DeWright taking over. This is very important for a startup because this really clears way for potential AI and nuclear collaboration without any conflict. When we have a strong name, and a strong personality who is linked to multiple things. We see that a lot with Tesla and Elon. Um, a negative sentiment behind that individual or behind something they might be doing outside might affect this stock, even though this stock really hasn't done anything negative. So, knowing that Sam Altman is around, but he's not the one just leading it, because I know we all know that his focus is on OpenAI, and there has been a lot of support for him on that aspect. So knowing that we have a leadership dedicated to OKLO is amazing. At the end, like you see at the top, the market capitalization for the stock right now is 10.2 billion, which I still feel is fair enough. A lot of times we see that, we have a large market capitalization, but the company's production is not nowhere close to even being piloted. At least in OKLO's stage, there is already a pilot going on, like we mentioned at the Air Force Base in Alaska. So that is a very positive aspect to it. It has also been holding levels, which we'll see at the end, and I will mention, what I looked at on Friday and why I thought it was an entry for me. So, being looked at, seeing the financials, let's talk about why it matters and the advanced insight. What I mean by that is what the next steps or the future looks like. So we definitely focused on AI and energy demand synergy. With AI data centers projected to nearly double their energy demands by 2035, OKLO's modular reactors could serve as low carbon, reliable power source. We definitely want to move towards reliable sources with low carbon emissions. And OKLO's product is something that really aligns with that. Also, regulatory tailwinds. Executive orders from the current administration are accelerating nuclear approvals, and OKLO's vertical integration manufacturing to operate gives us a competitive edge. So, it's very important to know that, for nuclear power, we need the administration support, and we do see that. The administration has been very positive to support the sector, and OKLO also has been at the forefront because of its partnership with Sam Altman and its, the pilot program with the defense or military and government. So that's really cool to see. Diversified applications. Like I mentioned to you, the products and the company's goal isn't just for a singular source. So they are beyond electricity. OKLO is active in radioscopic production for medical and industrial purposes via its fuel recycling tech. So that is something that we love to see. It is not really, there is a saying where not all eggs are in a single basket. That is very important for an organization because having every s- single thing focused on one just makes it more prone to failure. If one thing goes down, the whole thing goes down. We definitely know the energy and AI synergy is the main focus, but we also know that these applications are also aligned with medical use and industrial use so that they can be used at multiple sources of income for the organization. And that is something that I, as an investor, always like, knowing that it's not only one thing that the industry is focusing on. So that ways we can have multiple growths in terms of production. When magnitudes of scale for something like this, they could really tap into a different clientele and customer base, and that would really help them a lot. So what's next? I think what we really want to keep an eye on, the first thing is the commercial trial launch. So the timeline that they gave is 2027, 2028, with the NRC's approval. That's in progress, but I think that is something that would really be important. The second thing is military and data center deals. Monitor expansion of government partnership and energy contracts, including potential follow-ups to the Alaska deployment. I think once even the military really feels comfortable with OKLO's products and everything around, I think it would be amazing to see how they grow. Sector dynamic. As global nuclear momentum builds, OKLO could lead in SMRs, but competition and policy shift may impact its path. So obviously, there's going to be competitors who's going to come and also try to eat a share of the market. OKLO definitely been at the edge of leading everything, but they have to keep the research going and they have to keep on growing at a much faster pace because of the demand. AI keeps on growing, as we all know, and the energy demands keep on growing. As we know, there's going to be so much demand by 2035. So, for us to be leaders, we need to be equipped. And at the end, as traders, we always want to keep our eye on financial and market sentiment, watch quarterly report, cash runway, future analyst rating, and investor sentiment trend. I think that is very important regardless of the product and the company. For us to always keep an eye on the financial and the market sentiment is very important. I always make sure to keep a balance in both of that. And something that really helps us know that, when is the right time to dollar cost average, when is the right time to really get into the stock, and what could be the next move. To end this, what I wanted to do is just share a few ideas which I'm looking at. So, like I mentioned, my entry is closer to 75. I got into that because I was looking at the 20 SMA hold. It's definitely below that at the moment. It's playing around with the 20 SMA, but I really don't mind because what I did that over there was not buy the whole 100 shares that I wanted to. I'm going to give it space with to see how the market reacts, and then dollar keep cost average if it comes down to 70, or even a deeper pullback of closer to 59.60, where we saw it really found a lot of demand and it went back. Over the year, we have seen the stock be very volatile. So, we have seen large run-ups, then correction, and then finally there's like a run up where you always try and revert back to the 20 SMA, and in some cases to the 200 SMA, and then find support and then keep the momentum going. So the best strategy always remains dollar cost averaging. If we have a market which really goes into correction, we've had a very resilient market which has been pushing. But if you have a market which does do a correction, we don't, the SMAs are definitely going to be tested. So in that scenario, you don't want to be holding all your shares up here, which is very close to the all-time high, and then you do not get the opportunity to dollar cost average. So when the stock really comes back and does the run up, you also catch that run up. And I think that is what smart traders do. So keep that in mind. On the upside, psychologically, I believe after 85, it's gonna be they're gonna be in price search mode. My target, I believe, if we see the market continue on, keep its momentum, I believe at the end of the year I see the stock closer to 100. I think when it's closer to 100, what we would want to see is how it moves from there. Um, it's not something unusual for the stock to go up. 100 is also a very psychological level. So a lot of times we see that, when a stock comes closer to the 100 mark, it does tend to touch it before giving us like a reaction. So that is something I would watch. If we see a pullback, I think I would love to see how it reacts closer to the 50 SMA, which is close to 67, and then 59.60, like I said, because I would want to see it hold before just not blindly buying, because I wouldn't want to be holding falling knife. Sometimes stocks like these do need bigger pullbacks, but I definitely feel with all the fundamentals that we saw and everything that we saw, that the potential that the organization has. It has a lot of room to grow. It's my only cautious thing is, the market's also moving and breaking all-time highs. So when a market is moving so rapidly and the stock also is moving with that, when the market does get a corrective pullback, the stock also does that, and that is where I think a lot of panic selling comes into place. I want to be someone who takes opportunity of the panic selling. So that's why I believe in dollar cost averaging. So that's something to keep in mind. At the end, I think what I want all of you all to really think about is this stock suited to your portfolio in terms of your risk management? So what I'm looking at this stock is if everything goes well with dollar cost averaging till the launch of their product, which is end of 2027, 2028, I intend to hold this stock. And during the way to so that the stock creates value, once I reach those 100 shares, I would sell covered options on those so that I can start a weekly income on that, so that my money is working while staying in the stock. I believe the stock has a lot of potential, and um, there's a lot of room for it to grow, but there is also a stock which is very volatile, as we can see. It was in the 20s on April, and now it's back to the 70s. So if you got in here closer to the 200 SMA, you already 3x'd your money. So if you are an investor here, you want to see, is it smart to take profit? Or if you are an investor at the top and sitting in this downtrend, and then you're currently coming back to break even, I think you want to understand of, is it going to be able to break these highs? Because if you haven't dollar cost average and you're sitting at an average of 85, 80, it is something that you really want to think about, because I believe investing, and the way I think about investing is, the amount of time, the opportunity cost you could have had of where you could have used this capital, which where it would have generated, at least 10, maybe depending on your trading style, 5 to 10% a month for you. So think about that. I don't want the video to be too long. I just wanted to share my insights. I see a lot of potential, um, and I appreciate you guys being here with me. And thank you so much for giving me your time and listening in. Like always, please leave your recommendations downstairs on any other stocks that you want me to look at. And also, what do you think the market might do by the end of the year? This is the Labor Day weekend, so I'm recording this video on Sunday, August 31st, at 11:49. I'm in New York, so Eastern time. And we have one more day off before the market really opens. I hope all of y'all had a chance to rest, rewind, relax. As traders, I think a lot of times we get so engaged in the market that we forget to just relax and refresh our strategy. So please make sure to do that. We'll come back strong Tuesday and catch all the moves, and definitely as we all are successful traders, we are going to be manifesting growth. We are going to be manifesting a lot of wealth, and most importantly, we're going to be manifesting discipline. So thank you again. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.